So what are hostels like in 2021? Now this is normally super high season for Interlaken in general, but doubly so for this particular hostel. This is the oldest independent hostel in all of Switzerland. It's kind of a rite of passage when you come to Interlaken to stay here for at least a little while. It's got this vibe to it that's so unique, and so many backpackers have been through here over so many years. It's an institution here for sure. It's kind of dead for this time of year. Usually during summer right now there'd be people in every single bed. There'd be parties every night. It'd be just more of a fun atmosphere. Right now it's very, very quiet at this hostel. As a result of that, it feels a little bit weird, but it doesn't feel off. It doesn't feel wrong. It just feels a bit more relaxing and a bit more personal of a hostel to stay in than it has otherwise. And it's just this big kind of maze with just rooms and hammocks and common areas and TVs and kitchens and stuff, and you just kind of wander your way through it.
It's been a really long time since we've stayed in a hostel, and it feels a little strange, a little bit nice. I don't know, mixed feelings. It's really exciting to be in hostels because it's fun to like meet new people and explore together, make new friends. Everything about Balmer's hostel is really cool. It's got this old Swiss lodge kind of feel. Everything's really cute and well designed and comfy. There's a great kitchen space.
Usually at Balmer's at this time of the year, it's just stocked full of people. Every single bed will be full and it'll just be crazy. Obviously the world is not quite ready for that yet. We got a big room to ourselves. So for now it's just this spread out sort of experience, and truthfully it's just really, really nice to go back to hostels and be able to experience a bit of what makes hostels great. I'm really glad that the hostels are reopening slowly, carefully, and safely, because I know the past year has been absolutely devastating for them. And honestly, I'm afraid that the whole world of staying in hostels and just the whole idea of a hostel might change forever. And it's such an important part of all of the trips that I've taken before, and I've just fallen in love with the experience of staying in hostels so much that if they never came back, I would definitely miss them. So today we're doing a nice long hike up the side of a mountain. We're going up Harder Kulm. So this hike brings you all the way up to the highest peak that's the closest to Interlaken. The way most people get up there is there's a funicular. It takes about 10 minutes to get to the top, or you can hike it, which takes about 2 hours, and it's just, but the view at the top is absolutely beautiful. And plus there's this nice rest area built up at the top, usually meant for people who actually took the train all the way up, but I think it'll be a nice place for us to have a little picnic. That's where we're heading. So we're just getting some water for our hike here. Last time I did this was maybe 10 years ago, and I was in much better shape then than I am now, and it took probably, I think, 2 hours on the way up and a little bit less on the way down. I remember being very, very vertical. Like, come on over here and check out how vertical the funicular is that takes you up there.
Just a few minutes in, and I'm pleasantly surprised that we're in a forest. It's all shaded, mostly. We can hear the funicular going up. We still have 2 hours. They have 10. Lots of different paths you can take here.
That one's definitely the wrong one.
I'm hiking with Josh, so you know what path we're gonna take.
It can be hard to know which way to go when you're on this trail, but as long as you just keep going up, you're on the right path. How you doing?
Oh, fine. I'm just glad it's shaded. I feel like my calf muscles are getting workout today because you're constantly just... Because I'm walking with Josh, since we're constantly taking those shortcuts up, I'm like creating my own little switchbacks by zigzagging. Gotta save them calf muscles. For what? I don't know. I love this hike. The nature, the trees, the routes are even reminding me of some of the Hawaii hikes. Mother Nature's so awesome.
Now the funicular here has got this incredible history. It was originally built in 1908, over 100 years ago. And back then when it was first getting built, there was a lot of controversy around the building of it. People didn't like that they were cutting down so many trees and that they were going in front of this big, beautiful rock face that's up here in a little bit. So eventually, as a compromise to the protesters, they had to build this funicular, even though it was basically at a 45-degree angle all the way up. They had to build it around, it had to curve around this big rock face. And that way it made the protesters happy, and then they were allowed to build it. And now from the beginning in 1908, this thing was built sustainably, as in it gets all of its power to bring itself up and back down from the hydroelectric power plant that's powered by just the giant roaring river that's down there at the base. The funicular costs $20 each way per person, so $40 to get up and back down. So what that means is that instead of taking this thing, we're taking the hard way and walking all the way back up. That does look a lot more comfortable though. Friendly people. So just to talk about something nerdy for a little bit, I just wanted to go over a little bit about how funiculars work. So basically it's a car at the top and a car at the bottom, and both of them are connected by one big long cable. And the car at the top weighs the exact same amount as the car at the bottom, so when the car at the top starts coming down, the force of gravity pulls the car at the bottom back up. And this makes it an incredibly sustainable and low energy usage way to get people up and down something very tall, for example, this giant mountain. It's obviously much more sciencey and mathy and more complicated than the brief summary I just gave, but that's roughly how it works. This is a pretty good water stop.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome. That's fresh.
Water at the top of a mountain. What else could you ask for besides maybe a beer?
A burger?
Definitely a burger. Oh, what a blessing that place is. Now, to be clear, this hike is not easy. It is just basically straight uphill the whole time. I wouldn't put this at climbing Mount Everest difficulty by any means, but this is a medium difficult hike. It's going to be tiring, and if you're not comfortable with this sort of thing, I'd really recommend taking the tram. But the view's on the way up.
I had read online that the hike was taking maybe 2.5 hours for a lot of people, and I remember thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna blow past that. I severely underestimated this hike. It is absolutely beautiful, and the first part you can definitely take your time using the switchbacks, but when you're with Josh, you are constantly taking the uphill shortcuts. We're taking a little break here. It's a beautiful spot just to sit down, catch your breath, and have some water and enjoy the views, but I think we're almost to the top. Please, God. For those of you wondering, we are not wearing our slippers or our flip-flops today. All right, team.
Well, my flops broke. So is my spirit.
We definitely are wearing our trail runners. Because this is a constant uphill hike with some rocks and some trees and some narrow paths, definitely wear appropriate footwear. No time for slippers. We're so
gotta say, no matter how hard this hike is, oh man, the views. Worth it. At the top of the hike, you're rewarded with basically a hilariously overpriced restaurant, which makes sense because it's all the way up here. But definitely bring your own snacks if you're on a budget. However, this might just be the restaurant with the best view that you maybe ever eat at.
What you got in that bag?
Oh, we got some delicacies.
Oh, delicacies.
5-star restaurant, 3 Michelin star sort of stuff.
Who's the chef?
Oh, Chef Lisa from earlier this morning. We have this bread with melted meat and cheese on it. Ooh. There we go.
Body melted.
Yep. and this bag of cut up. What are these things called? This bag of cut up bell peppers. Yeah, and look at that. Some packages of almonds from our train disaster yesterday.
Yay! So depending on which trail or which method you go up the hike, it'll take you about 2 hours. We stopped and watched the funicular go up about 10 minutes. We stopped at the hut for 5 minutes, but it took right about 2 hours to get to the top. It's about a 4-kilometer or 2.5 mile hike, but as short as that sounds, it was tough because it was just non-stop, relentless uphill. When you get to the top, you're going to see a ton of tables, and it's going to look like you can sit down, have a picnic there, but this is specifically for the patrons of the restaurant there. Unfortunately, no picnicking allowed, but lucky for you, if you just go up a couple more hills, there are plenty of benches around the area, some even in the shade. Right, Jersh?
Yeah. Time to go back down.
Fresh mountain water. We're almost back to the hostel, but I am just so happy with our first day here in Interlaken. We climbed up the most arduous mountain, we saw the most beautiful lakes, and now we're walking back to the hostel, and every scene is so scenic. It's like a postcard. I can't get over how blue the water is. Such a different pace than Italy, such a different scene. Yeah, really glad we made it here, of all places, after exploring and adventuring around Italy and having the amazing time that we had there. But this is like the perfect place to relax, but also have some time with nature. It's beautiful. I don't know how many times I said that. 10?
Which is a tall thing. I don't know what to say. The lakes on each side are Brins and Thun. Nobody cares.
You can see the snow-capped mountains up there.
We don't have enough zoom for that.
Oh, awesome. All of a sudden got really scared of heights.
Hello? Do you see my face? Can you please work the camera? And wow.
Butt bread. Hi, kitty. What do you got to tell us? So many things to say.